Hello, my name is Marc Delondre. I am Belgian and I am 57 years old. I am an intelligence agent, member of Gladio, Gladio. This organization has its headquarters in Belgium and it belongs to NATO. Gladio is specialized in false flags operations, that is the operation ordered by government in order to manipulate their population and hide the real cause and real culprits of these operations. I have today to face a new fake about me, the second only after such buzz. It's even very little, but I have to tell you the story with Katrina-Russian agent debunked and the crash of the plane in Moscow. She had arrived in my contact a little after the fire of Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. A few days after her arrival, I received a very particular email which described Gladio activities in Japan, region that I do not cover at all. Apart from this document makes links between Gladio operations that I have never connected to each other before. Katrina told me quickly that this document came from Gladio. I did not know, but the way this document was detailed showed an advanced knowledge of Gladio's activities. I therefore agree with Katrina about this, but in this document there were an anagram, a game of letters, linked to my name and to the fire of Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. All the letters of my name were in Notre Dame Cathedral, except 6 letters, A, E, O, T, H, D. In very little time, Katrina told me Ateo Theoda, Satan sent by God. It was the result of the anagram in Ancient Greek. Ancient Greek is still used today in intelligence code. My videos are at the moment viewed hundreds of thousands of times. It's huge, and this anagram gave my name to the fire of Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. A few days later, arrived in the news a video of al-Baghdadi, the head of ISIS since 2014. This video surprised the whole world because for 5 years he was hidden. But from the very day, Katrina attacked me because she wanted me to speak personally to al-Baghdadi and that I asked him to surrender and put an end to ISIS. She gave the reason that I am, since the fire of Notre Dame and the anagram, the official representative of Gladio, and that I am the only one who can do that. I was upset by this request. She explained that this request came from Gladio. Being convinced that Katrina is in the world of intelligence, I talk about the reasons that Gladio could have to ask me for such a video. The purpose of this video was possible, and that's precisely the reason that I could admit this request. If I told to al-Baghdadi to hand ISIS. And if he does it, because he could be under Gladio's control, obviously it would be a tsunami for the Western world. The European population would learn that all attacks on behalf of ISIS were only false flag operations. And this revelation is also the goal of Gladio. They want that the world know, since it's also my function. But that was also the goal of Katrina. It was to propose to me a plan that I consider as possible. But I did not swallow this plan. I had a hard time to accept it. But Katrina was showing up more and more aggressive and said I had to hurry. I did not understand why she was so aggressive, so suddenly, even often insulting me. Finally, I told her that I will write the text of this video on Sunday, May 5, 2019. Sunday, May 5, 2019 at 6 a.m. I started to write this text. But hardly because I did not know how to talk to al-Baghdadi. So I just chose to tell him my story and my links with all the terror attacks, including all those claimed by ISIS. He would understand that, so I am informed of all attacks in real time. And ISIS realize only false flag operations. Moreover, all Gladio's operations are signed in real time on my personal server. This should therefore disturb al-Baghdadi and push him to hand ISIS. Was last series of attacks for Gladio were the attacks in Sri Lanka. And I proposed to al-Baghdadi to put a hand to ISIS. At least that's the way it was in my text that I prepared for my video, at the request of Katrina, and that I wrote with much diplomacy. As I was writing all this, Gladio did not seem to like my text at all. The part of Gladio signal concerning me was in high level, and I saw it. I had then some doubts, and I asked Gladio to hurt me to my right annular, here, if they were against this text. And I was suddenly slightly hurt at this finger. I advise you to read my book and a terrifying chapter where Gladio showed me how they can play with the pains as they want. This is possible because of the implants, and the targeted individuals know this very, very well. Only the pain they made to me at this finger was too weak and too short compared to the previous experience. So I had doubts, and I continue. When I finished my text for my video, the signal of Gladio fell back to its normal level. But the signal is also in public access on the internet. It could be used to synchronize operations, which are not from Gladio. So I sent my text proposal to Katrina, who got angry. She explained to me that I don't have to talk about my story to al-Baghdadi, the story that justifies this video. But I had to tell him about him and his family. I did not understand these words and his family. I did not understand what she was trying to tell me. I did not know this al-Baghdadi. I did not even know his name. I only realized who he was when he released his video a few days earlier. Katrina got angry again and insulted me. The plane has just crashed in Moscow. Immediately she told me it's a Gladio operation and that I must hurry. To do this video correctly, that she asked me, that Gladio asked me, she said. I end up blocking Katrina because this crash that correspond to the Gladio signal. This made me think it was impossible for me that Gladio shot down a Russian plane in front of a Russian control tower on the most important airport of Moscow. But that's what Katrina told me, even before we know what happened, and the possible number of deaths and injuries. All I considered, this is impossible, and I block Katrina. I must first understand what had just happened. And the only solution was that Katrina was asking me to make a video where I had to be very close to the leader of ISIS. Indeed, she asked me to speak to al-Baghdadi as someone I knew for years. And so I was a terrorist myself. It was obviously wrong. And this is visible by her demands to tell him about his family and to avoid telling him about my story. She had failed on this point. She was so angry and insulting me. Conclusion. The plane was very likely a part of a Russian plan or his army, and where Katrina had mission to tell me it was a Gladio operation. She had mentioned it herself, and even before the first release. If I had followed what she said to me, I was going to be the one to give the opportunity for Russia to reply to the attack. Since I, spokesperson for Gladio, I had to say that Gladio was responsible for this crash. For this also, I blocked Katrina because of this premature words of Katrina. It's Gladio. Also because of the impossibility that Gladio does not a false flag operation, but a true flag operation in full Russian territory. Rigorously impossible. About this crash, the witness and the pilot spoke of lightning, not to mention the possible noise that this flash would have made. The planes are built to resist to thunder lightning. To this, Russian authority said, yes, but that thunder lightning was much more important than normal. Okay, they know, but nobody mentioned the sound of this thunder lightning, but only the light. To this, the authorities say that there was a pilot error, but they also said that the equipment of the plane was damaged by the thunder. Was it possible, with damaged equipment, to land this plane in good conditions? We could also think that the pilot could be a hero to have saved some of his passengers. I think we will never hear the version of the pilot, or a pilot free enough to say what it really happened. In conclusion, Katrina has failed twice her mission. The first to make me say in a video that I knew the leader of ISIS very well. It's failed. The second to make me say that the crash in Moscow was an action of Gladio. It's failed. Result: 41 people died in a crash by Russian authorities, in the hope that I will say it was a Gladio operation that would have allowed them to respond. It's failed. Moreover, as the way of the Skripal case, Russia used a DEW, a direct energy weapon, which Gladio often used today, including for the fire of Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. These weapons produce a white light, something like a huge lightning, and indeed without noise. According to their programming, they can indeed not burn nothing, but damage all electronic equipment. By using this weapon against their own plane, Russia used one of Gladio's favorite weapons. Not only that, this could put me in the mistake, but also and above all to make me say, as Katrina asked me, that it was a Gladio attack. Since it matched to the Gladio signal, but as I said, the signal is public, and Russia also has his weapon, the DEW. They only needed the one who was going to confirm that the author of this attack was Gladio. They chose me, the spokesperson of Gladio, and it failed. In closing, I must say that the case of Katrina is actually the second manipulation by Russia. I must add that my involvement, as well by Gladio, and now my manipulation by the Russians, disturbed me considerably. I wonder why I am so important today to be so manipulated, to create 41 deaths, hoping that I say that it's Gladio. It's a pretty amazing. And yet, that's the only way to explain what just happened. It's actually the same kind of situation than the Cathedral Notre Dame in Paris, which was, well, a Gladio operation. I will finally remind you that my only source of income comes today from your only support. Do not think it makes a fortune. No, just enough to keep my internet server to communicate with Gladio and feed me and my family. It does not do much for information you need. Thank you in advance. The least euro count. Thank you for your attention and for your understanding.